Here we go. I'm going to give you the lineup for today, Matt. Are you ready?
I am so ready.
All right. Coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about the following automotive stuff. The great debate over the manual versus automatic, Plasti-Dip, and something I like to call the Cadillac Catastrophe, but it's really the Cadillac Catera.
Ooh, I'm intrigued.
So let's get the show on the road.
Whoa.
What?
I got a story about lemonade.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it, Matt.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Engine Noise Podcast is brought to you by oneiauto.com. Quality car parts that ship quickly and come with thousands of free online videos that walk you through your installs. With One Auto, you can save a bunch of money and feel empowered by repairing it yourself. oneiauto.com. Welcome to the Engine Noise Podcast for do-it-yourselfers like me who do not mind getting their hands dirty. I am your car guy, Jeremy Nutt.
And I'm Matt, the guy that keeps Jeremy on track. I stop him from taking too many detours. I keep the show on the road and get us there safely most of the time.
Yeah, that's not a total lie.
Episode lucky number 13.
Yeah. Are you feeling lucky?
Punk.
Well, do ya? All right. Recently, Audi announced that they are no longer making cars with manual transmissions.
Whoa.
Yeah. Can you believe that?
I actually can't believe that.
Yeah. So, and it's especially weird for me because I think a lot of Audis that I've driven have been manual transmissions. Like, that is why I occasionally drive Audis that are cool.
Yeah.
Because they're manual transmissions and they're awesome.
Funner to drive.
Yeah. And my friends that have Audis, they're all manuals. It's weird.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. But that is one of the topics that we're about to talk about, Matt.
Ooh.
Manuals versus automatics.
Okay, let's get into it.
So I had a bet with my friend in, I don't know, it was probably like 2005, that I could swap my automatic transmission Mitsubishi Galant to a manual transmission Mitsubishi Galant. And I said I could do it in 4 hours.
Well, now you're just talking crazy.
That was an insane bet. So I bet him a case of beer that I could swap my car from automatic to manual in 4 hours. And he said that I couldn't do it in a full weekend. Somewhere in between there, neither one of us owed each other anything. But if I did it in less than 4 hours, he owed me a case of beer. And if it was more than a weekend, then I owed him a case of beer. Guess who won?
I cannot guess. I don't think you could do it in 4 hours.
Okay, so you're right. But neither one of us really won the bet because I did it in 8 hours, less than a day.
Still impressive.
Right? I was so proud of myself.
Well, first of all, I don't even know how you would go about doing that.
Yeah.
So.
Lots of preparation. I found a car that had a similar platform. So a Mitsubishi Galant and a Mitsubishi Eclipse are based on the same platform. So they're essentially the same car with different body panels. When I was planning this, I found every part that I needed. I got it all from a Mitsubishi Eclipse. And I made sure I had every nut, every bolt. There was not one little speck of anything missing when I was ready to do this. So I got up real early in the morning. I had all my parts ready to go. And I just tried to get it done in 4 hours. And
bold move.
So I could win the bet. But at 4 hours, I was not even close. So I was like, all right, I lost that part of the bet, but I can still get this done. So I hammered through the job, and I got it done in about 8 hours.
That's crazy.
The one thing that I did do in advance was I installed my clutch pedal, because I knew that was going to take a long time.
Ooh, isn't that cheating, Jeremy?
Well, yes, that's cheating. I'll give you that.
Okay.
But the rest was done during that one day. So the clutch pedal was there in advance. I had drilled the hole in the firewall, put the clutch in, put the clutch master cylinder in place.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was all done that day. So
Impressive still. I'll give it to you. Even though you cheated.
So here's the thing. When I swapped from an automatic to a manual, I had way more fun because manuals are just more fun. And I gained 5 miles per gallon by swapping from an automatic to a manual.
I guess, okay.
Which was like mind-blowing to me because I didn't expect that. Many new cars don't come in manuals anymore because A, nobody buys them, and B, automatics can actually shift more efficiently than a human can, and therefore you can get better gas mileage out of an automatic than you can a manual at this point in time.
Yeah, but back then.
But when I was swapping my 2000 Mitsubishi Galant, my automatic was actually getting worse than I was doing shifting it.
That's pretty funny.
So it was really cool. It was a nice little benefit. But yeah, a new car that you can buy, you might get a 9-speed transmission like I was talking about in a previous episode in a Jeep Cherokee. And if you have 9 gears, imagine like shifting 9 gears manually. It would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
But in an automatic, the transmission can always be in the perfect zone of when the engine is most efficient. So therefore, they can make a car go a lot longer on on a gallon of gas if you're perfectly in the zone.
Now they can.
Now they can.
couldn't back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day, everything was like 3-speed, 4-speed, 5-speed. And then, 1990s come around and everybody's like, 6 speeds, yeah, that's rocking.
Now, is it less money to buy a car with a manual transmission, or is it even out?
In the past, the base models were always the manual transmissions, and you had to pay extra for an automatic.
Yeah.
Now, I assume cars are just going to be more expensive because they have automatics in them, and automatics are more complex and expensive than ever before. So your car is going to be more expensive.
Okay.
So good luck with that if you buy a new car.
What are the benefits of a manual? I mean, in your opinion, you say it's
Yeah.
more fun.
Oh, it's definitely
Are there
more fun.
other things that are legitimately better than an automatic, or
Okay.
vice versa?
So let's say you bought a brand new car today, and let's say you could buy a automatic and a manual of a Subaru Impreza.
Yeah, let's use that.
The automatic is going to get better gas mileage, which makes me a little sad.
Automatically?
Yeah, because it's just more efficient automatically. That was so lame. Matt.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying.
So the automatic's going to get better gas mileage, and there's just going to be a lot of people out there that don't know how to drive a manual, so they're going to buy the automatic. But for me, I would always get the manual, and in fact, I did when I bought my Subaru. I went with the manual even though it got worse gas mileage because it's more fun to drive. It's just flat out more fun. People say automatics are better for racing, they're better for gas mileage, but you know what? Don't listen to those people.
Automatics are better for racing?
Yeah, if
Really?
you're drag racing, because they shift faster than a human can.
Huh. But they're not as fun.
But they're not as fun.
Yeah.
Don't get those people in your life. The automatic people. You don't
I
want
am not a
those.
manual guy, but I can see where you're coming from
Yeah.
after driving a manual.
It is a ton of fun. And the more gears you have, the more you get to shift it around, and you just feel so much cooler.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess the benefits for me are just fun driving experience. Personally, I like revving up the engine, and then you can do the burnouts. So
We all know you love burnouts, Jeremy.
that makes it easier, in my opinion, with the manual, because you can rev it up to like 7,000 and then just dump the clutch, and things
And
get
then just
crazy.
blow your car up.
Yeah, like where an automatic, you have to rev it up with your foot on the brake and like do a burnout with your brakes, and then you're wasting your brake pads. It's weak.
Yeah.
That's manuals versus automatics, and Audi is no longer doing manuals. So if you're
So
buying an
weird.
Audi, you're out of luck, pal.
Your Audi luck.
Oh man, you just
Did
keep
it again.
going.
I know. I'm sorry.
Keep going. So Matt, when did you learn how to drive a manual transmission? Assuming you have.
I have.
Okay.
And actually, the first time was this 80s Thunderbird.
Whoa.
Yeah.
With a manual transmission?
Yeah.
That thing's rare.
Yeah. Well, it was super cool.
Yeah.
It
Was
was
it
a friend of mine. It was a piece of crap at the time,
Well,
right?
yeah.
So
80s Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
That's all they were.
But it was so cool. Like it was fun. The gears are like really tight, really
yeah.
close together. So you just beep, 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 beep.
Right.
And then the kid got rid of the car. I think it just broke down, and either that or he shouldn't have had the thing.
Thunderbird life.
Yeah, T-Bird life.
Right.
And then I tried driving my dad's truck. It was like a 1500 or something like that. I think it was a GMC, but I can't really remember. But the difference between the gears
Yeah.
and how far away they were and like how sensitive it was changing the gears, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
This is awful. This is not fun.
I know. You get to throw your arm like back and forth like 4 feet,
Yeah.
though. You feel
Yeah,
like you're
but-
driving a big rig.
I wasn't very good at doing it anyways. I
Yeah.
prefer the Thunderbird with the little,
Right.
the little gear pattern or whatever you call that.
I prefer the smaller one as well. My friend had a K5 Blazer years ago. When he first got it, it was like comically like a loose shifter. So the shifter was super worn out anyways.
Yeah.
And you could put it in first gear and move the shifter back and forth like 6 inches to the left and right.
Yeah.
And then if you wanted to shift to second, it was full throw of your arm to the back seat. There was so much slop in it.
Yeah, that was the same thing. It must have been like a loose
Yeah.
shifter or whatever.
Oh, man. It's a lot of fun. My first manual transmission experience was, well, in a car, not like a go-kart or dirt bikes and that kind of stuff, four-wheelers. But in a vehicle, my parents had a Chevy S10 that was a manual. And when I was learning how to drive, I don't know if I wanted to learn how to drive a manual first or if my parents just kind of threw me into it. I don't really remember, but I got in the truck and my first challenge was like, okay, we're going to go to this hill and you're going to start on the top of the hill. And
That was the
you're
first
not
challenge?
allowed to, yeah.
Oh,
And you're
wow.
not allowed to go backwards.
They were hoping you would fail.
Yeah, they basically wanted me to fail. So there's a hill that is like under this train bridge. There's always traffic, and you have to pull out onto a fast road. And I'm like, okay, this is just setting me up for failure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is where I spent a lot of my time learning how to drive a manual. Is over by that bridge on a hill.
That's horrible.
It was a good experience and fun and scary all at once.
Yeah.
But taught me how to drive quick.
Yeah. Okay.
That's how I learned how to drive a manual. But at that point, once you can start from a hill stop pretty consistently, I mean,
Yeah, you kinda
shifting
got it
from like
down.
second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever you have, that's all easy.
Jeremy, you've got me hooked on 1A Auto.
Oh, yeah?
The YouTube videos are awesome. I can do any part on my truck that I want. I subscribe to them on their YouTube channel, and I even hit that little bell thing that lets me know when they drop a video.
And they drop a lot of videos, Matt.
They do. And I follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and they do sweepstakes all the time. I just saw they gave away $500. They give away T-shirts all the time.
They're pretty good on the old social meds. And if you keep track of their YouTube videos, I think you'll be able to fix just about anything you want on your truck.
I think I can too.
1AAuto.com. Quality auto parts that ship quickly and come with thousands of free online videos that walk you through your installs. 1AAuto.com. Fun and educational. Follow them on social media today. Matt, you may recall that I worked at a Cadillac dealer fixing Cadillacs.
I do recall, Jeremy.
At the time, I was the new guy to the dealership. Guess what I got to work on?
All the crap.
You got it.
Boom.
Cadillac Cateras, my friend.
Is that the crap of Cadillac?
That's the crap. Yep, that's it. So in the 1980s, Cadillac had a Cadillac Cimarron, which is a Chevy Cavalier with a Cadillac emblem.
Okay, yeah.
Those were very hated. It kind of became the joke of the Cadillac brand.
Oh.
And then in the 1990s, Cadillac's like, you know what? We need another entry-level sedan for the young Cadillac people. So they're like, we're going to come out with a sporty little fun car that people are going to love. They're going to enter in the Cadillac brand, and then they're going to start buying Sevilles and DeVilles and Fleetwoods.
How'd that work out?
Didn't work at all. Actually, looking back, I guess it did work because the CTS is pretty popular, and that kind of
Oh, it's based off of the Catera?
yeah.
The CTS?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's sort of like a stepping stone.
Huh, okay. Yeah.
So the reason I bring it up is because Cadillac Cateras is what I worked on constantly at the dealership because nobody else wanted to touch them.
The black sheep of the Cadillac world.
Yes. From what I understand, I might be completely wrong here, but it is like a German car. I think it's made by Opel, technically. And then Cadillac buys it from Opel. They put some Cadillac badges on it, and pretty soon you have a Cadillac that's really an Opel. It had everything right going for it, except for the transmission, but we'll ignore that. So basically, it was a small four-door car, rear-wheel drive. So immediately you're thinking, I could drift this? Yeah, of course. You can drift this thing.
Yeah.
It's got a V6 in the front, which is not bad. Not as good as a
bad.
V8, but we'll take it. Dual overhead cams, a really nice interior, and it was like German feeling. I don't know how much time you spent in a BMW.
None.
Okay. When you get in a BMW, everything is like hard and tight. All the gaps are very small and everything is very firm. It feels like the ultimate driving machine.
Okay, yeah.
In a Catera, other than the seats, it was pretty much like that. Everything felt like hard plastic and tight gaps and very BMW-esque is how it felt. So the problem is...
Yeah, I'm still not hearing why they were crap to work on.
That's what I'm getting at.
It sounds like a
Matt.
great car.
I know. Everything about
get
it was
to
great.
it.
Okay. The problem is people started driving these things. That's it. So when they started driving them, people realized that what happens is they have timing belts. And the timing belts have pulleys that guide the timing belt all around the engine. Mm-hmm. And all the bearings were falling out of the pulleys and sprinkling down onto the timing belt, which then made the timing belt jump, which then broke the timing belt and then took all the valves and mashed them into the pistons. Yeah.
Terrible.
So then they would come in on a flatbed. They would just basically drop them into my bay in the Cadillac dealer. And all the other guys there would start laughing and clapping, and they'd be like, here's another one for Jeremy. And there was just like a row of them behind the dealership that all like had my name like basically all over them.
What did you do? Replace the engine?
Sometimes. If it wasn't bad enough, like if the pistons didn't break, which they usually didn't, usually it was just the valves that broke. If it was the valves that broke or the valves that bent, then you'd pull the heads off. We actually used to send out the heads to have them rebuilt. A machine shop down the street would take them apart, put new valves in them, put new valve guides in them, put new valve seals in them. Then they'd give the heads back, and I'd swap new head gaskets on, new timing belt, new water pump, an updated pulley kit. Sometimes you'd have to do some other things to it because it would damage parts when things were breaking.
Oh, yeah.
So if you lose your timing belt on the highway, let's say your car's at 3,500 RPM or something, and your timing belt decides to just chuck itself, it basically acts like a saw in the front of the engine, and it just saws through the timing cover, and then it might saw through like the serpentine belts, and then it might saw through like your fans, and it just starts cutting things.
Wow.
Another thing that used to happen was the rear differentials in those things would basically eat themselves. So you'd have to replace the rear differentials.
Well, why don't you just weld it together so you could drift?
See, that's a good idea. Cadillac owners not into drifting, generally.
No?
Generally speaking. I mean, there's probably a few out there that are into it. The other thing that those would occasionally do is the harmonic balancer would break, and it would spit off the outer ring of the harmonic balancer.
Oh, yeah.
And that's like a good
It's a chunk.
5 to
Chunk of
10
metal, right?
pounds of steel. And when those things come off, it was just calamity under the hood. Parts everywhere. These things were very new at the time because this is like the early 2000s. I was the guy fixing all of them because I was the new guy.
Yeah.
So when I left the dealership, one of the things that I did was I had done like a million of these things. And at some point during this era of my life, I started collecting the extra nut that they gave you in the repair kit. Because this happened so much that Cadillac came out with a repair kit. Came with like a water pump and belts and timing belt and all kind of other stuff. I would take that extra nut and I would put it in a cup. So I had a cup full of nuts. Mm-hmm. When I left the dealership, my boss labeled it Jeremy's specimen cup, and I took it with me. Just recently, I actually found it because I moved from one house to another.
Yeah.
I counted the nuts in the cup, and there was 77 nuts in the cup. So I know that at minimum, it was probably far more than this, but I did 77 at least timing belt jobs and water pumps on Cateras, and then I have to imagine it was probably close to double that number is what I actually
Until
did.
you started saving them.
Yeah. I actually got really good at timing belts on those because if you could catch them before they exploded, then you could do the whole repair kit, which had better pulleys and better water pumps that didn't eat themselves. You could save the engine before it nukes itself. It's a 3-liter, dual overhead cam, V6, Cadillac rear-wheel drive. It had everything going for it. Poor execution.
Wow. That's pretty nuts.
The car itself is good. The execution was horrendous.
Yeah.
Like, they just failed on every level.
Oh, that's.
But if it just had a V8 in it with a different rear differential, it would be a pretty cool car. Oh. It would essentially be like a newer GTO. I went on Craigslist recently.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder what Cateras are going for these days.
Oh, boy.
You can buy a pretty nice Catera for under $2,000. And I'm thinking, it's already rear-wheel drive. You could stuff a V8 in it pretty easily.
Like maybe an LS?
Yeah. And I don't know if people are doing this or not. Because the other thing is, it's over 15 years old now. And in certain states, that gets you out of emissions tests.
Oh.
So technically, you could get a Catera that's rear-wheel drive, put a better rear diff in it because that's going to nuke itself.
Yeah.
And then you put a V8 in it, maybe throw a turbo on it.
Sure, why not?
And then you have the ultimate driving machine with a V8 that it should have had in the first place, and you're doing burnouts.
All comes down to burnouts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't have much invested because you can buy the car on Craigslist for like $1,000.
Very true.
And it's a Cadillac.
We should get started.
Maybe a nice little project. Maybe see how cheap you can make a rear-wheel drive Cadillac drift car.
That'd be a good challenge.
Oh, maybe we could have Nick build it.
Ooh, there we go.
Have Nick from the previous episode or one of the previous episodes.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to convert him from a BMW to a Cadillac.
Yeah, we need to talk to him. This is a great idea.
We're going to suggest this. All right, let's do it.
Jeremy, I have a story for you, buddy.
I can't wait to hear it.
So the other day, I'm driving down the street. I'm in a good mood, right?
Yeah.
And I'm driving in my truck.
Okay. Sweet ride.
Yeah, my sweet Dakota.
Yep.
These kids have a lemonade stand, and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
I love lemonade
You know?
stands.
Yeah.
I almost stopped at one on the way here today.
See, so you understand that I was like, you know what I should do? I should grab some cash, and I should just go there and like buy a bunch of lemonade and be like,
Yeah.
oh, how much for that cup? 15 cents. I'm gonna give you $1 and be like
Exactly.
the hero of
Right.
the day. You know?
Make it rain.
Yeah, I was in a good mood. So I drive up to these kids, and what happens?
I don't know. They give you lemonade?
They made fun of my truck, Jeremy.
Of course they do.
Yeah, nice purple truck.
Nice.
Yeah.
So did you buy the lemonade?
No.
No. You just
Absolutely
drove
not.
off?
Yeah.
You pulled up and you were like,
I was offended.
all right. Wow.
Yeah.
Were their parents there?
I didn't see any, and then I went to the police station and I said that they didn't have a permit to be selling lemonade.
Wow.
No, I
That's
didn't
lies.
do that. I did not
Lies.
do that. But now it's got me thinking,
Yeah.
maybe I should paint the truck.
Like with some spray paint?
What do you know about this Plasti-Dip stuff?
Plasti-Dip's pretty awesome.
Yeah?
I actually used it for the first time the other day.
Really? What did you do?
I Plasti-Dipped a bracket for the power steering pump on my Pontiac Le Mans.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just as like a protective coating?
Yeah, I basically couldn't find any other paint in my garage laying around, but I did have a can of Plasti-Dip. Actually, I had like 5 or 6 cans of it because I bought some for doing my wheels on my Ford truck that I used to have. But it was one of those projects where I bought all the paint and supplies and stuff, which was really just 5 cans of Plasti-Dip from the like hardware store.
Yeah.
And then I never did it, and then I sold the truck, and now I have all this Plasti-Dip. So
And
now
it didn't go
bad.
bad.
It's probably a couple years old, so I don't know. It seemed to work.
That's cool.
But yeah, Plasti-Dip is really awesome. I think that it started as like a dip that you would dip like pliers into.
It did.
Yeah, and then like
It would make like a handle.
yeah, it would make a handle exactly.
It was never in spray form. It was
Right.
always in the can, so you could actually, quote, dip it.
Dip it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, I had never used that kind either, but I always saw it on the shelf and I was like, oh man, I need to re-dip my pliers, but you know,
Yeah.
I'm not rich enough to pay $7 for the can of
I
Plasti-Dip.
do remember it always being expensive.
Yeah, it was. And it probably still is if you buy it in that
Probably.
form. Because, I mean, I would obviously dip my fingers in it, my hand.
Blue Man Group it?
Yeah, everything I own would be dipped if I bought that. But yeah, I got the cans of it and I dipped my bracket in this stuff and it actually came out really nice. I was
Nice.
surprised. And the cool thing was I was holding the bracket on a light stand. This is going to get weird. Are you ready for this?
It's already weird.
When you paint stuff, you got to like hang them from something, right?
Yeah.
So that you can like paint the whole thing
Sure.
and like all sides of it. What I did was I didn't have anything to hang it from, but I did have a shop light stand
Yeah.
that holds a couple shop lights. So I
Yeah.
took the lights off the top and then I vice gripped my bracket to the light stand.
Okay.
But then I
Yep.
painted the bracket with the Plasti-Dip, but the Plasti-Dip got all over my vice grips. But then when I was done, I just peeled it all off and I
That
got
is the
perfect vice
coolest
grips
part.
again.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, now my bracket looks dope and my vice grips are still clean.
So this is an option for me,
So here's the thing. If you're going to do a whole truck, hypothetically,
hypothetically.
you're going to need a lot of cans.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. That's
Yeah.
a lot of cans.
It's a lot of cans. So the thing about Plasti-Dipping a whole car, now I know a couple of people who have done this and they've done parts of cars and things like that. And if you don't put enough layers on, then it becomes like impossible to get back off.
Oh, yeah.
So if you do like 1 or 2 thin layers and your car's going to look awesome for like a short time.
Yeah, a day.
Yeah, maybe a little longer, maybe a couple weeks. And then it'll get dirty and then it'll get faded from the sun. And then you'll be like, you know what? I don't want the sweet black Plasti-Dip anymore. I want to get a real paint job. And the only way to get it off is like sand the whole car down.
Ooh.
The beautiful thing about Plasti-Dip is you're supposed to be able to just peel it off. But if you don't put enough layers on, that doesn't work. You have to put
Yeah.
a lot of layers on to be able to actually peel it off right. Otherwise, you're peeling off like, you know, a little tiny piece at a time and you're like getting it in your fingernails.
Yeah, that's
and
horrible.
To do that to a whole car, it'll take you 10 years.
Yeah, I don't want I mean, ew.
Yeah. You can buy Plasti-Dip. Actually, what a few friends have done is they go buy the paint sprayers to do like houses.
Ah, yeah.
And they put Plasti-Dip in there, and then they'll thin it out and add color to it. And then you can spray a car with something you'd paint a house with.
Yeah.
You can tint it whatever color you want, so you can get like a normal color from like a real paint supply place. Get something crazy. Get
Yeah.
some like bass boat, metal flake, golds.
Absolute purpleine.
Yes, exactly. Get something real crazy. and then you spray it on and put it on real thick, do like 10 layers of it or whatever, then you'll be good. You'll look like a bass boat. You'll be cruising down the street.
That's what I want.
People will respect you.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I know about the Plasti-Dip, and so far, I'm impressed. I haven't done a whole car myself, but I have done some power steering brackets that came out awesome.
Pretty cool.
I'm into it.
I'm into it.
I would recommend you try it so that I can benefit from what we learned from it.
It's a good idea. And if I don't like the pink, then I can peel it off.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah.
Or maybe you won't, and it'll just be pink instead of purple.
Well, either way, I don't find it to be a bad choice.
Yes, both colors are great.
I am going to report those kids, though.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Engine Noise, a podcast brought to you by our awesome sponsor, oneauto.com, quality auto parts that ship free and have thousands of how-to videos that walk you through your installs. Thank you to our producer, Jamie Prohaska, our editor, Patty Ford, and our marketing master, Christian Hera. And thank you for writing us an iTunes review. And if you haven't done that yet, go do it.
Write us something good. And thanks for listening, everyone. We'll have another great episode of Engine Noise drop in 2 weeks. Our show drops on the 1st and 15th of every month with a little car news and coffee bonus dropped in between. Be sure to subscribe so that you'll be notified every time one of our episodes drops. And remember to like, follow, and share our show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, continue to DIY.
Do it yourself.
Go Plasti-Dip something.
Buy a cup of lemonade from the neighborhood brats.
Or don't until they apologize to you.
You can do it.
This Engine Noise podcast is brought to you by oneauto.com. Hit the subscribe button now so you'll know when a new episode drops. Have a question for Jeremy or Matt? Send us an email at help@enginenoisepodcast.com.
He's so mad at me.
Sounded like a sad dog.
It is a very sad dog.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we got a new dog, and we're crate chaining him, and this is the first day that we left him alone.
Oh,
Yeah, it's very sad.
poor guy.
Yeah.
You know what you need?
What's that?
Cats.
I have one.
Cats don't do that.
Yeah.
My cat is like the annoying one.
Oh, trust me.
Yeah.
My cat's 22 years old.
Whoa.
Yeah. And she's like,
That's like ancient.
yeah. Just like, help me. I don't know what's going on.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very sad. Yeah, she's hanging in there.
What's the dog's name?
Coda.
Coda. I was hoping it was going to have some sweet car name. Like Turbo.
Well, Dakota.
Oh.
Boom.
I feel like that's a stretch. Oh, well.
Why? It's Koda.
Yeah, KO. Yeah, okay.
The girlfriend was like, hey, why don't we name the dog Dakota?
And you're like, God, no.
Not even, I was like, nope, I can't do that. After all the talk
Right.
about the Dakota, people are going to be
Yeah.
like, wow, you really love that truck, huh?
Yeah.
So we shortened it Dakota, which means little bear.
Oh.
Yeah. It kind of looks like a little bear. So
What does it mean, little bear in?
I don't know.
Just some other language?
Yeah, some other language.
Wow. What's the cat's name?
Burrito.
Burrito. Matt, I'm learning more and more about you every single day.
Me too.
Yeah.
About myself.